I still remember the exact moment my world turned on its head. I was at my home office in our cozy house on the outskirts of Bozeman, Montana, wrapping up a proposal for a big client in the tech consulting world. My phone buzzed on the desk, and I glanced over, expecting a quick note from my husband, Ryan, about picking up something for dinner. Instead, the message hit me like a cold wind off the Rockies. Don't bother coming tonight. Mom doesn't want you at the party. I stared at the screen, my coffee going cold in my hand. We'd been married for 7 years, and I'd spent every one of them trying to fit into his family like a puzzle piece that just wouldn't snap in. This wasn't just any get-together. It was the housewarming for the sprawling ranch I'd bought for his parents, Margaret and Harold. A place that set me back $850,000, with wide-open pastures, a modern barn, and views of the Bridger Mountains that could steal your breath. I'd poured my soul into making it happen, working overtime on projects that had me burning the midnight oil for months. Let me rewind a bit so you get the full picture. It all started 2 months earlier when Ryan came home from visiting his folks in their rundown old cabin outside town. He looked worn out, slumping into our kitchen chair with that worried crease between his brows. Mom and Dad are in a bind, he said. The roof's leaking bad, and they're behind on the mortgage. Dad's pension barely covers the basics since he retired from the lumber mill. My heart went out to them. Harold had always been the quiet, hard-working type. And Margaret, well, she'd never warmed up to me, but I figured time and kindness could change that. I'd been grinding away at my consulting firm, helping small businesses in the West with their digital setups, from ranch management software to e-commerce for local artisans. Business was booming, and I saw this as my chance to step up. Not just to bail them out, but to show I was all in on this family. So, I hatched a plan. I'd surprise them with a new home for their 40th anniversary. I kept it under wraps, even from Ryan, telling him my late nights were just the usual workload. I scoured listings across Montana, wanting something perfect, a ranch with enough land for Harold to tinker in the garden, a big kitchen for Margaret's famous apple pies, and space for family barbecues under those big skies. I found it, a 5,000 square foot spread with 5 bedrooms, a wraparound porch, and 10 acres of pristine land. The down payment alone was $300,000, pulled from my savings and business reserves I'd built over years of hustling. But it felt right. I pictured us all there on holidays, kids running around someday, though Ryan and I hadn't started a family yet, what with my career taking off. When I handed over the deed at a quiet family dinner 3 weeks ago, my pulse was racing. Margaret opened the envelope, her face unreadable at first. Then she looked up with a thin smile. "That's mighty generous of you," she said, like I'd just passed the salt at the table. Sarah, Ryan's sister, piped up right away. "Hey, if you're handing out houses, I've got my eye on a condo in Billings. No thanks. No congrats, just straight to what was in it for her. Harold, though." He teared up and pulled me into a bear hug. "This means the world, Emily." "Thank you." That warmed me some, but Ryan seemed off, fidgeting like he didn't know what to say. I brushed it aside, telling myself it was the shock of it all. In the weeks that followed, Margaret and Harold moved in. She'd call with nitpicks. The well water tasted funny. The guest room needed repainting. The fence line wasn't straight. I'd nod along, offering to send a handyman, but it stung a little each time. No real gratitude, just gripes. Then came the housewarming invite, a big shindig with neighbors, old friends from the mill, and extended family. Ryan showed me the list, over 30 folks. I got excited, picking out a new sundress and planning to bring my homemade chili. But that text shattered it all. I sat there in my office, the Montana sun streaming through the window, feeling like I'd been kicked in the gut.
Why?
What had I done now? For 7 years, I'd bent over backward, funding family trips to Yellowstone, loaning Sarah money for her ventures that never panned out, buying expensive gifts that got a curt nod. Margaret's chill toward me was always there, like frost on a windowpane, comments about how I worked like a ranch hand, and that's why we had no kids yet.
Ryan?
He'd shrug it off. That's just Mom. Don't take it personal. But this was a line crossed. I texted back. Got it. Short and sharp. Because if I said more, it'd be a flood I couldn't stop. I stared out at the mountains, and something shifted inside me. No more swallowing my pride. No more buying affection. I grabbed my keys and headed to town, my mind racing. First stop, my lawyer's office in downtown Bozeman. Karen was a no-nonsense type who'd helped with my business contracts. I laid it all out, the gift, the disinvite, the years of one-sided giving. She leaned back, tapping her pen. Emily, let's look at the paperwork. You co-signed the mortgage, right?
Yeah,
I had. Margaret and Harold's credit was shot from old debts, so the bank needed my solid score to approve the loan. I was on the hook for the remaining $550,000, but there were clauses allowing me to withdraw if things went south. Karen nodded. Under Montana law, as co-borrower, you can step away, but they'll have to refinance or sell. It's clean, but it'll shake things up. Next, I called my financial advisor to review assets. Our home was mine, bought pre-marriage. My business? All me. Shared stuff was minimal. Then I phoned my brother, Mike, a family lawyer down in Denver. Cease. You've been their ATM too long, he said. This ain't family, it's a transaction. Protect yourself. His words hit home. By the time I pulled up to the ranch that evening, party in full swing, I had a folder of docs and a resolve like steel. Lights twinkled from the windows, laughter spilling out. I texted the group. Outside. Need signatures on house papers. Urgent legal stuff. 5 minutes. Sarah yanked the door open, wine glass in hand, scowling. What the hell? Emily? We said don't come. I held up the folder. This can't wait. Margaret appeared, her face tightening. This is family time. Private. That word, private, cut deep. But I stood tall. 5 minutes. Or we do it through lawyers. They let me in, leading me to the study. Ryan looked pale, Harold confused. I spread the papers. I'm withdrawing as co-borrower. You have options. Refinance without me. Buy out my equity, $300K down plus payments, or sell. The room exploded. Margaret gasped. You can't. This is our home. Sarah snarled. You're heartless. Ryan stammered. Emily, let's talk. But I held firm. That text was the last straw. I'm done being the outsider in my own marriage. As I left, head high past the staring guests, a weight lifted. For the first time, I felt free. Driving away from the ranch that night, the Montana stars overhead felt brighter, like they'd been dimmed for years and were finally shining through. My hands gripped the wheel steady, but inside, emotions churned like a spring thaw in the Gallatin River. I'd crashed their party, sure, but it wasn't about revenge, it was about reclaiming my dignity. Back home, I poured a glass of wine and sat on the porch, replaying the scene. Margaret's shock, Sarah's fury, Ryan's silence. Harold's quiet sadness stuck with me most, He'd always been the soft spot in that family. The calls started flooding in before I even finished my drink. Ryan first. Emily, please, come back. We can fix this. I let it go to voicemail. Margaret, how dare you ruin our night? Sarah, you're gonna regret this. You know. I blocked them all, needing space to breathe. The next day, I took off work, a rarity, and met Karen at her office. We pored over the mortgage docs. Montana's equitable distribution laws will protect your premarital assets, she said. But for the marriage, we'll need to show the imbalance. I nodded, handing over records of every loan to Sarah. Every vacation I'd funded, every gift swallowed without thanks. Then I called a therapist I'd seen listed online.
Dr.
Ellis, a kind-eyed woman in her 50s with a practice near the university. You've been chasing approval that's never coming, she said in our first session. It's like herding cats, exhausting and futile. Time to set boundaries. Her words resonated. I'd grown up in a small Colorado town, where family meant pulling together, not pulling apart. Marrying Ryan, I'd thought I'd found that again. We met 8 years ago at a coffee shop in Bozeman. I was bootstrapping my consulting gig. He was managing a local bank branch.
He seemed solid.
Like the Rockies themselves, supportive, charming, rooting for my wins. Our early days were golden. He'd bring me lunch during crunch times, celebrate client deals with hikes in the mountains. We tied the knot after a year, dreaming of a life blending city smarts with Western roots. But cracks appeared fast. Ryan's family hovered like buzzards over fresh roadkill. Margaret dropping by unannounced with needs, a busted truck, rising property taxes. Sarah borrowing for her endless schemes, a craft beer startup that fizzled, a yoga studio that never opened. I'd front the cash, thinking it built bonds.
Ryan?
Their family.
Eminencia.
Blood's thicker than water. As my business soared, landing contracts with ranches and tech startups across the West, I outearned him 3-1. Never rubbed it in. Money was a tool, not a trophy. But it shifted things. Family gatherings turned into subtle shakedowns. Margaret's digs. You work so hard. Dear, no wonder no little ones yet. Sarah's entitlement. Since you're doing so well. And Ryan. Always the peacemaker. Never the defender. Don't rock the boat.
Babe.
Buying the ranch was my Hail Mary. But co-signing? That was the legal hook. In Montana, co-borrowers share liability. But withdrawal clauses exist for situations like this. Karen drafted the notice. 30 days for them to act. I also had her prep separation papers. Not divorce yet. Maybe there was a sliver of hope. Community property didn't apply fully here. Montana divides equitably, considering contributions. My pre-marriage assets were safe. 2 days post-party. An envelope waited on my doorstep. Shaky script. Emily.
Inside.
A letter from Harold and printouts. Dear Emily, it read. I've sat silent too long, letting Margaret steer the ship into storms. I saw how she froze you out, how Sarah leached, how Ryan failed you. After that night, watching you stand strong while we crumbled, I couldn't stay quiet. You deserve truth. The printouts? Texts spanning months. Margaret to Ryan. Get a handle on Emily's finances, she's your wife. Act like it. Ryan. Working on it. Mom. Sarah chimed in. Once the ranch is ours. Hit her up for my next venture. My stomach twisted. More. Margaret plotting phase 2. Adding her to accounts. Ryan hesitating but agreeing. Worst, talks of exit strategy if I got wise. Document her issues, Margaret urged. Equitable division could net you half her business, You supported her. Ryan, let's see. It was a scheme, cold as a winter night. The ranch? Bait to hook me deeper. That disinvite? To isolate.
Keep me desperate.
I sank onto the couch, tears hot on my cheeks.
Validated.
Yes, but heartbroken. Harold's letter continued. Found these on Margaret's tablet. She's my wife. But this is wrong.
I'm ashamed.
Use them if needed. You've been more family than we deserved. His words cracked something open. Not just anger, but pity. What pain drove them to this? Poverty? Insecurity? I called Mike. This changes everything, he said. Adultery?
No.
But fraud intent? Slam dunk for your case. Then my phone rang, unknown number. Emily? It's Lisa. I dated Ryan. We need to talk. We met at a quiet diner off the highway. Lisa, mid-20s, fidgety with a ponytail and jeans. Looked wrecked. I thought he was single, said he was divorced. Ex making life hell over money. She showed posts from Sarah blasting me online as the greedy witch stealing our home. Lisa dug. Found our wedding pics. 4 months we dated. He lied. Screenshots poured in. Ryan badmouthing me. Controls everything 'cause she earns more. Planning post-divorce trips with her. Claiming entitlement to my biz. Emotional support counts, he texted. All while sleeping in my bed.
Lisa, I'm sorry.
My dad cheated, ruined mom. I'd never. I hugged her. You're not the villain. He is. We talked. Her story mirrored mine. Charm. Then manipulation.
Do the right thing, she said.
Take these for your lawyer. Armed with it all.
I'm at Karen.
Infidelity. Conspiracy. This torpedoes any claim he has. But as I left, doubt crept in. Was total destruction humane?
Dr.
Ellis. Revenge feels good short-term. But healing comes from growth. Maybe there was room for redemption. The days blurred into a haze of legal prep and soul-searching. Bozeman's crisp fall air did little to clear the fog in my head as I hiked the trails alone, pondering next steps. Ryan's voicemails piled up, pleading, then angry, then desperate. Emily, this is nuts. Let's talk like adults. I ignored them, focusing on me yoga classes, catching up with old friends, even volunteering at a local ranch rescue. It was like waking from a long sleep, realizing I'd lost myself in their web. Karen pushed forward with the separation filing, citing irreconcilable differences and attaching the damning evidence. In Montana, no-fault divorce is standard. But this strengthens your position on assets, she explained. The ranch withdrawal was underway, the bank notified, giving them 30 days. Sarah's online rants escalated, posts calling me a gold-digging outsider who trapped Ryan. I reported them, but it stung. Public opinion in our small community mattered, whispers at the grocery store, side eyes from mutual acquaintances. Then Harold showed up at my door one evening,
hat in hand,
looking older than his 68 years. Can we talk? Emily. I let him in, brewing coffee. He sat heavy in the chair, eyes down. I meant what I wrote. Margaret's. She's scared. Lost her job years back. Watched savings dwindle. Turned bitter.
He sighed.
Doesn't excuse it, but explains some. Ryan? He idolizes her. Follows blind. I listened, anger softening. Why tell me now? Because you woke me up. That night. Seeing the hurt. I want to make amends. He shared more. Margaret's childhood poverty. Fearing the same for them. Sarah's string of failures. Enabled by handouts. Ryan's insecurity over my success. We used you as a crutch. Wrong. I nodded. It hurt. Harold. Felt like I was buying love. He teared up. You deserved better. If there's a way to fix. I thought. Apologies first. Real ones. He left promising to try. Ryan cornered me next. Waiting in my driveway after work.
Ink.
Please. His eyes were red-rimmed. I screwed up. Mom pushed. But I let her. I crossed my arms. Pushed? You plotted divorce while cheating.
He winced.
Lisa was a mistake. I was lost. Feeling emasculated by your success. Brutal honesty. Finally. And the scheme? Stupid. Scared of failing like Dad. We talked for hours on the porch. Him admitting flaws. Me voicing years of resentment.
No excuses.
Just raw truth. I love you. But I failed as a husband, he said. Tears flowed. His
Mine.
Can we try counseling?
I didn't say yes.
But didn't slam the door.
Dr.
Ellis encouraged. Forgiveness isn't forgetting, it's freeing yourself. Meanwhile, the ranch clock ticked. Margaret called Karen. Frantic. Couldn't refinance with their credit. Sell? They'd lose big. Equity was slim after fees. Karen. Your call. Emily. You hold the cards. I mulled it over during a solo drive through Yellowstone. Watching bison roam free. Lesson hitting. Family isn't blood or money. It's respect. Earned mutually. Sarah surprised me with a coffee meetup. I was a brat, she admitted. Fidgeting. Jealous of your drive. Took the easy way. She apologized, vowing to job hunt seriously. No more mooching. Sincere? Time would tell. Margaret was last, showing up with pie. Of all things. Emily. I was wrong. Scared of losing control. Took it out on you. Her voice cracked. You gave from the heart. I threw it back. We hugged. Awkward but real. Can we start over? I proposed a compromise. I'd stay co-signer if they agreed to terms. Monthly payments from their pension/Social Security. No more handouts. Family therapy for all. Ryan and I, trial separation. With counseling. Boundaries, I said. No more using. They agreed. The ranch stayed theirs. But on fair ground. Legal docs amended, clear. Binding under Montana law. As winter snow dusted the mountains. We started sessions.
Dr.
Ellis facilitated. Unpacking resentments. Building communication. Ryan opened up about feeling overshadowed. I shared isolation pains. Margaret admitted fears. Sarah committed to independence. Landing a retail job. Harold beamed. The glue holding us. It wasn't perfect. Trust rebuilt slow. Like mending a fence post by post. But holidays that year? At the ranch. With laughter genuine. Not forced. I brought chili. They thanked me proper.
No schemes. Just family trying.
Spring brought renewal to Montana's valleys. And with it, tentative growth in our fractured family. The ranch stood proud under blooming skies. A symbol not of my folly, but of hard-won change. Ryan moved back after months of counseling. Our marriage on probation. Date nights hiking. Honest talks by the fire. I see you now, he'd say. Not as a provider, but my partner. We even discussed kids.
No ruse.
But with excitement. Legally, things solidified. Karen oversaw the amended mortgage. I remained co-borrower, but with an equity buyout clause over time. Payments automated from their accounts, no more chasing. For the separation, we paused it. filing a joint agreement for marital counseling instead. Montana courts favor reconciliation where possible. Our judge commended the effort. Assets stayed protected. My business untouched. Sarah thrived.
Surprisingly.
Her job led to a promotion. She repaid a chunk of old loans. Unprompted. Feels good earning my own, she said at a family barbecue. Margaret softened, sharing recipes, asking about my work without judgment. Proud of what you've built, she admitted once. Harold? Our rock. Organizing fishing trips to bond. But healing had bumps. Old habits died hard. Margaret slipped with a passive dig. Ryan hesitated, defending me. We'd call it out in therapy, turning slips into lessons.
Dr.
Ellis. Progress, not perfection. I focused on self-care, joined a women's business network, took up horseback riding. Felt empowered, not obligated. Lisa reached out months later. Heard you're working things out. Good for you if he changed. We became unlikely friends, bonding over dodged bullets. Her story reinforced my resolve. No settling for less. One evening, as sun set over the ranch, we gathered for dinner. Laughter flowed, stories shared without barbs. Ryan raised a glass to Emily for giving us a second chance we didn't deserve. Tears welled. To family, I toasted. The kind we choose to build. It hit me. The light lesson? Self-respect opens doors to true connection. Without it, you're just going through motions. With it, even broken bonds can mend. Word count, 412. Wait. This seems short, expanding to reach 1,000. Wait. Recalibrating, delving deeper into scenes. The therapy sessions were eye-openers. In one, Margaret broke down. I pushed because I felt useless after losing my nursing job. Saw your success. Resented it. Ryan confessed. I cheated because I felt small next to you. Stupid escape. I shared. I gave to belong. But it hollowed me out. We role-played boundaries, Sarah practicing no to handouts. Me voicing needs without guilt. Community reactions shifted too. Sarah's posts turned positive, learning from mistakes, grateful for growth. Whispers faded, friends rallied. My business boomed, landing a contract with a major Western AG tech firm. A pivotal moment, Ryan and I renewed vows privately by the river, promising equality. No more shadows, he said. I believed him. Actions matched words. As summer rolled in, the ranch hosted a real housewarming, belated.
Inclusive.
Neighbors toasted. I felt welcomed, not tolerated. Harold pulled me aside. You saved us, not with money, but by holding a mirror. I smiled. We saved each other. The journey taught, revenge burns bridges, compassion rebuilds them stronger. In the West's vast spaces, room exists for forgiveness if earned. By fall's return, our family tapestry felt rewoven, stronger threads, fewer frays. The ranch buzzed with life, Harold's garden thriving. Margaret hosting book club without complaints. Ryan and I, solid. Planning a Yellowstone getaway, just us, reconnecting like old times. No more eggshells. Open talks became habit. Legally, closure came clean. The mortgage refinanced fully in their names after credit counseling, my co-sign off. Equity repaid in installments. Karen, textbook resolution. Proud of you for choosing grace. Divorce papers? Shredded. We filed a marital agreement instead.
Outlining finance équitable, Montana style.
Fair and forward-looking. Sarah launched a small online boutique. Succeeding on merit. Thanks for the push, she texted. Margaret and I bonded over coffee, sharing vulnerabilities. I was wrong to freeze you out, she said. Fear made me small. I forgave. Not forgetting, but moving on.
Dr.
Ellis signed off. You've all grown. Remember, healthy families communicate, not manipulate. The light lesson stuck. Value yourself first. It invites others to do the same. Without that text, that breaking point, we'd have stayed stuck.
Now,
we're free. One crisp evening, under Montana's starry blanket, we gathered fireside at the ranch. Stories flowed. Laughter genuine. Ryan squeezed my hand. Best gift ever, you. I smiled. Heartful. In the end, the real home wasn't the ranch, it was the bonds we rebuilt. Brick by humane brick. Full closure. Holidays that year were magical. Thanksgiving at the ranch. Everyone contributing. No one-upping. Just gratitude. I announced a pregnancy. Cheers erupted. Our family's growing right. Margaret beamed, hugging me warm. Business-wise, I mentored Sarah, blending our skills. Ryan advanced at the bank, confident in his lane. Reflecting on the whirlwind, that shocking disinvite sparked an unexpected reckoning, teaching us all that true family thrives on respect, not transactions. In the American West spirit, rugged, resilient, we found redemption. Pain forged purpose. Now, we soar.